Hello, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday for our weekly webinar. Today, I am joined by our awesome managing attorney, Ruby Powers, and we are here to discuss and give you guys the latest on USCIS premium processing times. Just some quick background on our attorney. She has been licensed since 2008 and founded her firm back in 2009. She is also a board certified immigration attorney. Attorney Powers, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Daya. So this has been a hot topic. Lots of people have been waiting for the results of what USCIS has been offering, more updates. And so we got some updates yesterday. We were planning for this topic to come out because we knew it was going to come out sometime at the end of May. But just to go back for a hot second, we're going to the last slide. We're also going to talk about what premium processing is, and sort of just what you can do, what's the form, and sort of the benefits of doing it. So let's go ahead and get through the overview. So USCIS is a fee-based agency, and so they basically, when you pay a filing fee, that is what they say it costs for them to process that form. So the more complex it is, the higher the legal fee, the filing fee, sorry. Now, every once in a while, it's like maybe every couple of years, they change the fees. And I think it's been a couple of years since they last changed it. I know every time we do a change, there's a big frenzy. Everybody wants to file before the prices go up. I've definitely seen at least a few of those in my legal career. So while lots of people say, well, how can I do this faster? Well, USCIS created the premium processing where you can pay a premium fee to get a result a little bit faster. Now, it's generally hovered around, maybe in the past, it was like last time it was $12.25, now it's $2,500, and it was anywhere from like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so those are sort of the things. It sort of was changing on business days or calendar days or stuff like that. But we're going to start seeing some changes coming up. So we're going to go through that overview. But basically, USCIS published a final rule in March of this year that would increase access to premium processing so that people can obtain the expedited processing by paying these fees. And they're seeking to address the budget shortfalls, backlogs, and ever-increasing processing times. If you look at their numbers, they make a lot more money when they do premium processing. So under the Trump administration, it really begged the question, why did they stop premium processing when almost everybody, it's a win-win-win. USCIS makes money, clients get a faster result. It's a win-win-win. So they intend to increase this access to premium processing in the following phases. So in multiple phases. And we're starting to see that because a memo came out, an update came out yesterday that we're going to go over. So let's go to the next slide. So expanding it, now available only to petitioners filing the I-129 petition for non-immigrant and certain I-140. So it can be really confusing because you might be filing that form I-129 or I-140 and think, oh, I'm eligible for premium processing. No, it depends on the reason in which you are filing, if it's allowed at that time. It also plans to expand the categories for the I-539, which is the change of extension and change of status, and the work authorization and additional classifications of I-140. That'll be a huge success. Because, for example, we filed an L premium processing in the spring, early spring, and we got the answer for the beneficiary, the primary beneficiary, in like a couple weeks or less, but we're still waiting for the rest of the family. And that's usually the case, that there's generally a family in tow, and they want to make sure that everybody has similar processing times, because if there's a lag, it can cause complications with travel and visas and things like that, passport. Work authorization, I mean, that's huge as well, because a lot of people, there's many complaints about how long these work authorizations have been taking, and having more classifications of the I-140, which is the immigrant petition, would be wonderful. So they want to implement it through a phased approach, imagining the fact that they have been dealing with a lot, changing from administrations as well as having to deal with COVID, like everyone. But there were moments where they were almost going to furlough many contractors, employees sometime in that transition, and also during COVID. And so being able to do this in phases, I think, ensures that they have a better chance of it being successful and not too overwhelming, and them actually be able to produce the deadlines that they're honoring what they tell us they're going to be able to do. So let's move on. But I mean, this is all exciting. So yesterday, May 24th, today's the 25th at the time of this recording, the USCIS announced the following, which you can see, we posted online, you can see on USCIS website. But basically, they're implementing premium processing for certain petitioners who had a pending I-140 for the EB1 and EB2 classifications. But it is very specific. We'll get into that in just a second. So this only applies to certainly previously filed I-140 petitions under the E13 multinational executive and manager classification, or the E21 classification as members of professionals with advanced degrees or exceptional ability seeking a national interest waiver. For many years, not having premium processing for national interest waiver has been a huge issue because many of the national interest waivers we do, they could be for individuals, they could be abroad, you don't have to have a job offer, you don't have to necessarily be in the US at the time, and not knowing how long that's going to be taking really hinders one's ability to make plans. So petitioners who wish to request this upgrade must file the I-907. So that doesn't change. The I-907s, that's the form you need. And if you have an attorney, they can sign off on that without needing additional signatures. There's different signatures for petitioner, requester, things like that. It's a relatively simple form with biographical contact information, the requisite signature, and the filing fee would be needed. So it's going to be in phases, and here we go. Beginning June 1st, which is just around the corner, they'll accept the premium processing for requests for E13 multinational executive, executive and manager petitions received on or before January 1st, 2021. Okay, so starting in just like a week, is that June already? They will let you file the I-907 premium processing for those E13 multinational executive manager petitions filed on or before January 1st of 2021. 2021. So cases that have been pending for about a year and a half. Beginning July 1st, they'll accept a premium processing for the national interest waivers received on or before June 1st, 2021. So cases that have been pending a year and a half. So unfortunately, if you filed it less than a year and a half ago, you can't premium process it yet. And E13 multinational executives and manager petitions received on or before March 1st, 2021. Now, if you think about it, you're like, yeah, that doesn't help me maybe because I filed it like in the last year and a half or something. Well, if you think about it, if people premium process who've been waiting a long time and they start getting those cases off the queues, and this experiment starts rolling, it could eventually speed up the processing time for all the people who are not eligible for premium processing yet, and maybe just reduce that time. And it's an experiment because if they take on too much they can chew, then they'll, everybody will be upset. So I think that it's wise of them to sort of calculate sort of what numbers they think they can actually pull off. So USCIS will reject premium processing requests for those that are filed before that start date. So don't do it yet. And they will not accept new I-140s with a premium processing request at this time. So it doesn't mean that if you file an IW or a multinational executive right now that you can do an I-907. So I think it's the right direction. I think that not everyone's so excited about it because they might see that they're still got some wait time, but it's moving, it's progressing. At least it exists, right? We've been waiting for this for a long time for them to expand premium processing. So I think as soon as they see how they can handle it, we'll see more. As they said, there'll be a phased process. So let's move on to our more information. So basically, like we mentioned, the 907 is a request for premium processing, and it has to be complete and signed, follow the instructions. There was a new a published one that came out just recently. And we knew that was going to happen when they started expanding the offerings, that there was very likely. So some clients wanted us to have everything ready to file as soon as this came out, but here we find out that it's going to take a little bit longer. So for the month of June, they'll accept both the old version and the most latest version. But as of July 1, they're going to reject the older version. So just take a look at that. That just came out on today's Wednesday. Yeah, it came out on Monday. And so that is the one to start checking it out. So new form for 907, June's last month, you can use the old version. And moving on to the next slide. So can the beneficiary of a visa petition seek premium processing? You can only do it in the situation in which it's eligible for premium processing. So it has to be and if the beneficiary would need to have the petitioner. So if it's your national interest waiver, you are that self-petition, right? So that you can go at your petitioner and the beneficiary and the one in the same, so you can go ahead and do it. But if you are the beneficiary and their company petition for you, you would need them to be a part of that conversation and to make sure that you're in alignment with them. So if your company is not petitioned for you and is not watching this closely, you can show them this video and you can say, hey, I qualify, let's move this along and let's get the answer faster. And so that's a good question to ask yourself. And moving to the next slide, case processing time. So this came out, was it last week, Daya, or the week before, where they came out more specifically? Before it would just be like, I-130, it takes forever, right? Well, no, now they're going, I-130, what's the basis? Marriage to a legal permanent resident spouse or something like that. Then they're like, which field office? And then they'll tell you more specifically. So they came out with this just in the last couple of weeks, and they're letting us know more specifically what for your category, not lumping it just in one form, but your category specifically, what the processing times. What helps you with this is that then you'll know, and they added something at the bottom. If you go to that USCIS processing times, if you go there, you see something else that's sort of cool. It tells you when you put in your receipt number, your receipt date, and then it tells you when you can start complaining. I think that's so funny. Like, thanks for that.
Makes it easy.
They probably figure it can filter out some people who from complaining too soon. The things that make immigration attorneys happy. Moving on to the next slide. So time goals, yes, aspirational goals, just like weight loss goals and lifelong goals and New Year's resolutions. Let's all have them. So, wow, this is what they want to do. They announced this a little while ago, but let's just revisit it on the topic, right? Those N400s, I'm seeing less than 6 months right now. I-45s, I would love to see less than 6 months. It's been a long many years since I saw that. I-130s, less than 6 months. I think they have it in their power to do that. It'd be great if the I-129Fs could get below 6 months. What else? Oh, those I-730s were hoovering over at 2 years. What I'd love to see is I-601As to go down below 2 years. Those DACA renewals have been super darn fast. So that we're grateful for that. So the 2 weeks on the premiums, well, that's pretty much what they should have been doing anyway, is to give us about two-ish weeks. And 2 months for a non-premium I-129, that would be great. And 3 months for work authorization, oh my goodness, that would be life-altering. There's a labor shortage, and yet we're not giving work authorization fast enough for people. And I-824, that would be wonderful. We've got people waiting more than a year, almost a year for those guys. And those 539s, oh my gosh, those were like a year and a half during, well, they've been hoovering at a year and a half. That's for some statuses. So this is what they offered to us. This is what they said. We'd love to start seeing this. I'm being hopeful. I've seen some things moving faster, and we're also filing a lot more things online to see some movement. So let's move on. Let's try to hold them to that. Let's hopefully they actually do that. So we covered, premium processing exists. It's pretty much has been limited to certain applications and even within the special subsections of that. They're working on expanding, and we just found out that in summary, we have a new updated I-907, and we also have a expansion for a national interest waiver and multinational executive managers that we talked about today. It might not be everything, all of our hopes and dreams. I know I've been talking, a lot of clients have been watching, monitoring this, but it is moving in the right direction. And so I'll let Daya tell you what we're going to talk about in June. Can't believe May is we're at the end of the month. I know that, we just want to extend all our sympathy and thoughts for the town and the parents and families of Uvalde, which is only about 4 hours from here in Houston. We have friends, family, clients all over the world. Texas, having grown up in San Antonio, I have many friends that are from Uvalde, and so in light of the events yesterday, we have our prayers for them, and we want to continue to see action to prevent atrocities such as that from happening in the future.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for that, Attorney Powers. And just to close off here, I just want to remind you all that we do go live with these webinars every week, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central. And if you guys want to stay connected with us, you can give us a follow on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a TikTok and a newsletter that we're always updating with great information. And go ahead and join us next year. Don't join us. We'll join us next year, but next week for our next webinars. Sorry, the shooting thing has me like a little bit out of there. We will be talking about the asylum 1-year deadline for our next webinar. And then the next week, we'll be talking about court prosecutorial discretion updates and so on. But thank you all so much for joining us today. And I hope you all have a nice day. And we'll see you next week.
Take care. Thanks.